as we draw near to the end, they say in the time of Sayyidina Mahdi people will be with whom Allah wrote them to be in every aspect of their life. Whether it's their companionship, whether it's the spouse, whether it's their anything around them, the relationships, spiritual, physical, that we chose through our nafs, through our desires. Hopefully sometimes they were pure, most likely people's impure desires got them into relationships. But as we draw near to the heavenly kingdom opening upon this earth, in the presence of Sayyidina Mahdi everything will be governed by Lawhul Mahfuz, what's written. Not what we chose but what was written. No difference in guidance. Some people came across many people thinking they're the teacher, they took something from them, understood something, but yet there was a deeper yearning. The deeper yearning in which they begin to be fed from these realities, and it's a reality in which is quenching their thirst and hunger, because Allah created them to achieve that. You can't achieve what Allah hasn't written. We've had in 35, 40 years of doing this, people said, I don't even know what you're talking about, Shaykh, most of the time. And they said, it's not written for you, find something else that is more to your liking. Because you can't make somebody eat what Allah hasn't put into their hunger. If you don't have the hunger from the way that we're teaching and the system that we put together and these realities, it's not something that you can force feed. And at the same time someone may be in conflict thinking, I'm sitting with a person I thought I'm supposed to be with, but it does nothing for me. I don't understand, they don't teach anything, I don't even know what I'm doing. Am I bound to that? And in reality, no. You're bound to follow the heart, and what your heart is demanding from you on what it is required to quench its reality. Means I need to achieve these realities, I need to be fed constantly from these haqqaiqs, and this insatiable appetite has to be met. And if I sit with someone else I feel as if I'm dying and it's not happening, I'm not getting what I'm needing and my time is running out, this earth is finishing. Because there's many emails coming in, are we like locked into this thing because you're talking about the bayat. The bayat that we're talking about is the one that is the true bayat. You may give many bayats in your life but you're assuming that you were on truth and you did it as what Allah had willed. But you could have been artificially grabbed by somebody that had no right to try to give you bayat. Many happen, and again 35 years that we've seen people who roam into town trying to grab everybody's hand, hoping they can pick up all the fruits from the trees of a shaykh, and the person doesn't even know that they're a part of that shaykh, but these are the fruits of that shaykh. The shaykh they had even been studying by that shaykh for years. Somebody else came into town and tried to put a hand. So there are many like that you think you got into a contract, now you don't even know was that a valid contract, but you consider that in this way of haqqaiq that it was a step. I was to learn something but that was not my ultimate guide, and that guy didn't hold the keys. And as a result the bayat that counts is the one that looks into the heart of Prophet and that is the key towards that individual's reality. And that becomes important in the last days, that people who are not interested in this not interested, don't push yourself, move on. Those whom are deeply interested in it means Allah put the hunger in you, we didn't. We mainly feed you, and Allah describes these people, they feed you for the sake of Allah's Divinely face. So you can't force people to feed, we don't put out the appetite to people, you have to, you have to do this, you have to do this. But we teach a certain system, and each shaykh may teach a different system, we can speak only to ourselves. When the person is coming and has, oh I'm actually hungry for this reality, Allah put that hunger in you, that's your shaykh. And if he's feeding you to the depth of your soul and to the door of Sayyidina Muhammad, because many are astonished they don't really talk about that door. They have love for Prophet but they talk more about Allah. But that's a big danger, because the door for the believer is Muhammadun Rasulullah. It's not a second and a third door, it's not a fourth door in which you're all equal and in a line, it's the only door. And the only way to that door is to be taught that you're nothing. Negate yourself in your binary code. So then that system of teaching has to occur, and as a result means you're at the threshold of Muhammadun Rasulullah, and those that teach that system they have a key for you. Follow their way, write the knowledges so that you're documenting haqqaiqs. Later you can go back to validate also what you wrote so that you can say, oh did I understand that correctly? And it becomes burned upon your personality and your reality. So this is for people to contemplate the many people we will come across in our lives, but the true bayat is not the one that we only wanted to do, because we wanted many things in life, and look back at all the choices people have made and probably not so many of them you're proud of. But the choice that you made and finally reached to where the insatiable appetite within the soul is being quenched. Why? Because the one whom gives you, the one who controls your heart and gives you the hunger sits you at the table you're supposed to be at. So when they have a hunger and they're not being fed, means keep as a salik searching. But when they arrive at that table and they feel that their soul is fed, which are knowledges, because the bounty of the shaykh is knowledges. We said we would go to events and symbolic, there was no food. Remember there was crackers, cheese and grapes. For us means their provision is poor, there's no provision here. Not that they're poor, because these are all people in Western world with lots of money, but symbolically for us to understand there's no sustenance here. Because when guests come, they're the guest of Allah. And as you put out from your bounty for the sake of your faith, it's also symbolic that the shaykhs have a lot of ulum. If they're going to feed your belly, imagine what they fed your heart. So means these were symbolic of being fed. So when we go somewhere where there's constantly nothing to eat, then imagine spiritual association when shaykh says nothing. Then all of a sudden you see all those students are in Ba'alawi classes and other turuqs, just sitting, you see all the turbans in their audience. Why? Because Allah's just, they need food, they need something that Allah put a hunger in their soul, they need to seek it out. If you're not satisfying the hunger of people, it's a spiritual oppression upon them. It's like eating in your home and all your students outside in your backyard are starving. So no, the knowledge I have is for me, but they're hungry, I not feed them, I don't care. That's oppression and zulumat. So imagine spiritually. So the purpose of the shaykh was Allah gave that, why I'm giving you these knowledges? To go back and feed my creation. Not every creation, but whoever has the hunger that I put into their heart, they'll find you. You're not hard to find. When you have this hunger, you know how to find it. You want pizza late at night, you know where to find the pizza shop, it's not difficult. So it means that Allah has to put the hunger within the soul of people, they will seek it out. That reality of once you're being fed from that table, your allegiance is locked to the detriment of your soul, because you're now with your key into the heart of Prophet you can't pull that out. You can't say, now I'm a bystander. So that was the ayat of the bayat and the clarity that, oh, is it all the people I've met in my life, do I owe them allegiance? No, but the one whom is feeding you from the depth of their realities and the hunger that you have in your heart, you sat at their table and you realized it. And that's why Allah gives a reference to these individuals that are not all the same. These are ones whom they feed you and all they want is from wajhikal kareem, that's very high. For those to understand what is wajhikal kareem, and that's why they teach it, that this is the face of Prophet and that they're dressed by the face of Prophet whom is dressed by the Divinely face of Allah. In reference to these knowledges, the importance is to write. If they don't write, they mix everything up in its understandings. So we talked about Sayyidina Mahdi. People from left to right are talking, from east to west making up stories, most of which are external dunya people, that he will be randomly chosen and he'll be told, by the way, you are Sayyidina Mahdi. The shuyukh are not randomly chosen, not one of them come up as random, real ones. When they entered the tariqah, immediately they were bombarded and immediately they were trained and immediately they were put into seclusions and crushed and crushed and crushed and crushed. You don't derive at any station overnight, because this takes away from many particles of faith, many realities of faith. Allah is not reactive. Allah doesn't look to the earth and say, now is the time, activate Him. He's not reacting to what we do, it has been written. Imam Mahdi who he is has been written. He has been born, he's been trained, and he sits into a anjuman, into a circle of awliya in which none can physically achieve, in case governments are listening and say, take us there. It's blocked off for all physicality. But to understand, there must be immense training, that he immensely knows himself, because who knows himself must know his Lord. Who doesn't know himself doesn't even know Allah, doesn't even know Prophet, doesn't know anything. So that's not the tariqah. The tariqah is he's the master and the most high Muhammadan guide Allah has created. A descendant from Imam Ali salam through the bloodline of Imam al-Husayn salam. Most powerfully aware of himself, his Lord and his qudra. 1973 was born, and we'll post the article that Mawlana Sharafuddin Sultan al-Awliya with Mawlana Shaykh Abdul Faiz al-Daghestani Sultan al-Awliya described that we have a meeting, important majlis tonight, and the whole story we'll post, in which they went with Haqiqat al-Faiz with the infancy of Imam Mahdi salam into the Masjid of the Holy Companions in Turkey, underground masjid. And the purpose of that was to bless the child, to dress the child and all of the spiritual security that would encompass his reality. And as a result of his being raised on the earth in Mecca, when the signs became too apparent of his reality, he was taken to Rubba Khalil. Rubba Khalil is the empty quarters within Arabia, and it looks like a line in the sand, and it's exact reflection of the line in Mars. The planet Mars that represents Sayyidina Mahdi salam, there's a line going through the sand where they call the empty quarter. Empty quarter because they know this is the area of the jinn. Not only regular jinn but the jan that over hundreds of feet tall, in which anything that tries to even move physically into that region immediately will vanish. Their power directly from Allah. So not something physical, and I think many of the world's armies have tried to fly through there and tried to look through there, and immediately the jinn bring everything down and those things go vanished into that region. In this region there's the happy cave. Was it Thawr Suwada? The happy cave. Why happy? Because the immense Bihish and paradise realities Allah has put within this cave in the presence of Sayyidina Mahdi salam. And as a result of the presence of Imam Mahdi salam, the Sultan al-Jinn and all the big Sultan al-Jinn that guard and are all around that reality and in his presence, his physical presence surrounded by 50 deputies. And behind these 50 deputies are the 49 Nawab and Khalifas that stand right at the gate of that deputy, which I believe they made now 59 deputies and 59 Khalifas and the 40 deputies behind. Their ruhaniyat is in a continuous state as he is their nucleus and they are his electrons. Their wujud circumambulates his reality at all times. He is Sahib al-Imdad. Why? He's the nucleus. That he holds all tariqas and he's known through the Naqshbandi way, because the Naqshbandi shaykhs were responsible for the tarbiyah and the raising and the ulum and the knowledges. So Naqshbandiya is the soul of all tariqas. Imam Mahdi salam is Naqshbandi. In his zuhur of coming out, because of his presence and who he is in relationship to Prophet all tariqas will be named Muhammadiyya, that there's no name in the presence of the named one. So the Muhammadiyya, Muhammadiyun is the way of Sayyidina Mahdi. And those whom Allah has destined as these levels of guides, and those guides who know themselves in those categories of deputies and khalifas to Sayyidina Mahdi. If they had been trained, because it's not known by people who are not from that category and understanding. If they have been trained, they would understand that the ruhaniyat is in that presence. They take the faiz and the energy of that presence and the qudra to wherever their physicality is dressed from that reality. If you were to grab them and say, take me to that physicality, not possible. It's encrypted and locked, that physicality is not for anything. It's only through their spirituality. Anyone who thinks they're trained in remotely having a vision to enter, all of that is spiritually encrypted, and that nothing can be seen whom is not authorized. So the physicality is on this earth. The zuhur means that when does he come out of the cave? Those are cataclysmic events upon the earth, that when shaitan and the Dajjal system wants to kill 6 out of 7 people, because they call people cattle and cows like animals. They don't think they're humans, they categorize them as animals, therefore they can slaughter them. When they try to slaughter 6 out of 7 of Allah's creation, Sayyidina Mahdi salam's walking out and appearing is to save creation. Means when the order comes, they are killing, they are killing, they are killing those whom Allah destined and wrote for them not to be killed. They are from those 1 out of the 7. 6 out of the 7 will pass. Within the 1 out of the 7 are those whom are mahfuz. Their entire bloodlines have been guarded. And we described in other talks, because shaitans will try to move through timelines to kill you. If he thinks that you're somebody important with Sayyidina Mahdi salam, go to kill your ancient grandfather so you no longer exist. But they're guarded, mahfuz. Allah created this system and He knows what power He's giving to these shayateen, and Allah plans better. As a result they are guarded individuals, those whom will be destined to live throughout this cataclysmic events that will occur upon the earth. They should be guarded by heavenly guards. The power of that guidance coming from the heart of Sayyidina Mahdi salam. That's why now these ayahs are coming out, these teachings and knowledges are coming out as decrees.